Hey guys, welcome to the Refusal and Close Isn't Home collaborative live stream. My name's Sam.
And my name is Grace.
We're the founders of Close Isn't Home. We honestly started this project as a just collaborative game scene, like between the two of us. We just really appreciated like our different takes on digital art making, like especially as it relates to our identities. So we just wanted to collaborate and do something together. So we're just gonna like quickly walk through the space and kind of point out certain things as a part of like the scene before we get into any modeling. So let's get to it.
So just to preface, this scene is based on just like a hybridized version of Sam and I's childhood memories of our grandparents' home. Well, sorry about that movement. This is kind of my half with my grandparents' home. This is kind of the gate and then the paved garden with the persimmon tree, and then the clothesline that was always in the front. Just to note, the green glowing objects represent Grace. The pink one, like over there, represents Sam, and the blue represents kind of our joint objects if you want to later explore on closestathome.com. So if we go inside, there's a nice shoe rack, which one day you'll be able to take off your shoes and put your shoes. On this side, there's a floor table that I eat most of my meals on, as well as some persimmons, and over here is some Asian hair. There's a window, and it's window grill. Sam and I were thinking about mirroring a lot of the objects, so this is mirrored to this. And we can continue forward.
Yeah, for thinking of these frames, like I think I was looking a lot of like family photos. Like my family has a lot of photos that we like have, and I like to scan and archive them because there's so many just like old photos. So this is just a collage of like some photos we have. And the top photo is like just a very typical kind of Haitian painting that we just have like in our house, depicting kind of like a marketplace, like outdoor landscape scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you turn around, there's our fridge, which inside there's 2 jars of fermented vegetables.
Yeah, I think we were just thought it was funny that we're coming from two different like cultural foods and like spices and all that. Like we both kind of had these like staple fermented vegetables that we use. I think for like me, I thought a lot about like pickles, which is just like a Haitian like cabbage food that you can put on like all of your other like meals.
Yeah, and then so that's the pickles, and this is the kimchi, and the kimchi is also a side dish that Korean people eat in almost every single meal. Definitely a staple, and they definitely look really similar as you can see.
Yeah.
So if we go
Um,
to the table,
yeah, this is just like a kitchen table we'd have and we'd eat dinners at. I think for me, I just thought a lot about like staple spices and like foods that we would use in like Maggie cubes. I was thinking about like the mortar and pestle being like a really like specific spice crushing tool. Like canep is like a fruit that we would eat all the time. And I think like the conch shell, I was thinking a lot about like the Haitian like seafood dish like lambi, but also I think kind of the conch shells like symbolic representation and like I think the Haitian Revolution and like there's so many statues of revolutionary leaders using the conch shell to call other people to rebellion. So I thought that was just like a very interesting kind of uses and connotations of just like one object.
if we continue, we go enter this porch area and the garden. You can hear broom sweeping and frogs and also crickets and cicadas maybe.
Yeah. Um, I think like something I wanted to point out was like the like rooster, I guess. If you look closely, I modeled the rooster. I don't know if you can see it from
Trying
here.
to
It's kind of
chase
running
him.
away from us.
I know. It's gonna
Yeah.
turn around soon.
But yeah, the rooster has like a set of like denture teeth and like a little tongue sticking out. For me, I was thinking a lot of like this expression I would always hear, like "la poule a dents," which kind of translates to like when chicken have teeth. And I thought a lot about that American expression of like when pigs fly. So I just thought it was interesting, like thinking of like visualizing like some of these like expressions you'd hear all the time and like what that would really look like in a space.
Yeah, and I think Sam's like this chicken really speaks to our use of like idioms and like how that has a lot of translation errors to English, our second language. Closest at Home is also based on idioms, the title. Um, so there's two different titles or alternate titles in both of our native languages.
Yeah. I think mine was bien près par la caille, which means being close to home is not the same thing as like being like physically home. Um, yeah.
And the Korean one is kurimeto, which means literally translates to a picture of rice cake, but I interpret it as kind of a picture of something is never what you'll get or is not something tangible. And I think that kind of means the same thing as close isn't home, or that home, close to home but not home feeling that we're trying to portray in the scene and with our project.
Yeah, I think in like us like kind of recreating these spaces that, don't necessarily like exist in this way anymore, like kind of like makes us think a lot about like what it means to create like digital art spaces and how useful they can be to kind of seeing these different aspects of our lives in like kind of a nostalgic way, or thinking about how and reflecting on how I guess they represent like parts of our identity and selves, like even with all this distance that we have from these spaces.
Yeah, and I think that's it for our walkthrough. We're gonna move on to live modeling and texturing while just continue talking about closest at home and also giving some tips with our Skillshare.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Okay. Hi everyone. So this week, oh yeah. So wait, let me turn on your audio. Sorry. Um,
Oh, was I muted?
yeah, you're muted for a second. Um,
Thank you for joining us today.
yeah, we're really excited. We're gonna start with some modeling. This
I'm gonna
is
be wait, well, I'm gonna be modeling like the first half, and then we're gonna switch over to Grace, who's gonna be texturing.
yeah,
Um, yeah, this is our first time YouTube living, so we're
yeah.
gonna try our best. We're just
Sorry,
gonna also simultaneously be talking at the same time.
sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties. But we did the Skillshare as we mentioned before because we really wanted to share these like 3D abilities we have. And one of the people who submitted something was Maria Lam, who is an interdisciplinary emerging artist from LA and currently working on a body of work investigating their experience as an immigrant from Guatemala and the decontextualized and fragmented experiences of growing up in the US. So the image that Sam has up on her screen is one of the images they sent to us. Through
Yeah.
this project, they specifically wanted to connect with Guatemala's historical moments in a 3D space, specifically the ruins located in the ancient city of Tikal. I think that's how you pronounce it. They eventually want to incorporate a video of the model into a projection that will accompany other site-based pieces such as ceramics, paintings, and sculpture with the goal of creating an immersive environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So, can we start? Okay.
yeah.
All right. Um, so I guess basically, we wanted to like model everything, but I kind of, with the time that we have, kind of had to do it in parts. So I just wanted to show you kind of like the steps I went through, like starting off with like a simple cube shape, and then I kind of moved on to like extruding like what would ultimately be the foundation of the model. And then I also did some set of stairs right here. So I'm gonna like start like from here and kind of work with the image Maria sent and kind of just trying to figure out how to set up the whole architecture. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Also, Sam is using Maya.
yeah,
Um,
I forgot to say that.
yeah, yeah. And then I will be using Blender, and Blender is a free program, but Maya's not. But you can get like an educational license, I think, for like 3 years or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So um while I'm modeling, do you want to just like go
Yeah,
through?
we have some like guess conversation starters that we're just gonna talk about closest at home, and just like our process with 3D resources and 3D skill building. And I guess we just kind of want to start mostly about like how we got into digital art and 3D, and how we kind of like
Mhm.
created our artistic process. Um, this project, Closest at Home, started as a school project for this class called Unravel the Code. Um, but essentially, we learned a lot of the programs on our own. The game part was possible because of Unity, which is like I don't know, like gaming interface that you can create for apps, augmented reality, virtual reality, and also like web games. But me personally, I took like digital fabrication classes, so I learned Rhino, which is why a lot of the objects modeled in the first scene was modeled on Rhino, but I've been learning Blender and Cinema 4D on my own lately. And then Sam actually took a 3D course at Micah, which taught in Maya.
Oh, uh yeah, I guess I can talk about. I guess like my background is I actually have a background in sculptural art. Um so I did a lot of woodworking in the past. But I think that since then I did a lot of like digital fabrication stuff as it relates to like my sculptural practice. So that's where I first learned modeling was through like the use of Rhino. And yeah, that was more like a lot of like precision, symmetry, geometry, like fabrication stuff. But I kind of liked Maya or like other 3D modeling programs for kind of more freeform building and as it relates to the personal work I make. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that um, both of us really got into digital art, or like kind of creating environments through 3D means, because, or like virtual means, because like we mentioned before, we really thought virtual spaces embodied this like transcendental, like intangible space. So I like always speak of like our scene one as like seeing it through a lens of nostalgia, because the physical space might not look like that, but um, like from my memories, that's how I viewed that my grandparents' home. And I think that's only really possible through like virtual creation. I mean, you could probably create it physically too, but um, there's like another level of intangibility once it's 3D. And I actually started with not 3D modeling, and I remember specifically looking for like really specific cultural objects, such as the cabinet that I showed, but I remember not being able to find it. So I just learned it on my own, and that was something I really noticed within like the 3D like open source world, where a lot of these objects were first either owned by like white institutions like the Smithsonian, that were often appropriated or like took advantage of it. So we really wanted to emphasize that for the Skillshare,
Yeah, that's true.
this open
Also,
source. Yeah.
a lot of like the stuff we did. for our Unity game, like was stuff that we kind of taught ourselves. Like I did learn Maya like in school, but I think that like all the Unity stuff we did, like we really looked up a lot of videos or kind of find information where we could. And like that's something I think that's significant mention because I just think like we're in the age of the internet where you can really Google anything that you really kind of need to learn.
Yeah.
So I don't think people should feel discouraged to like model or anything.
Yeah, something I definitely noticed is that even the tutorials that do exist are like mostly, and like our teachers too, were mostly like white males. And I was like looking at a tweet about how they're like looking for like women of color, BIPOC, like woman tutorials. Because I don't know, I think it does make a difference. So it'd be nice to continue these skill shares and live stream in the future as part of Closest at Home. Yeah, so Sam is making stairs right now, which is
Yeah, I'm trying to show you guys like how I got into doing a set of stairs.
um so I guess we could also talk about kind of our modeling style with Closest at Home. We intended it not to look super realistic. When we're like setting up our mood boards, I guess we're really thinking about internet video games like the Disney online games, and like I guess Barbie, or all of the like dress up games, Stardoll, like Webkins, that kind of aesthetic that I think a lot of our generation grew up with. Um, and so you can see that because a lot of our objects are like more low poly, they're not shaded with a lot of like bump maps necessarily. And it's also very like kind of collage together. We really like this idea of like collaging things together. So that was definitely within our like aesthetic purposes of scene one. We definitely want to experiment more with like more types of aesthetic choices with different scenes in the future. And we're also thinking of, I guess, what Sam said earlier in the walkthrough, of like more surrealistic spaces or
Mm-hmm.
environments, especially with like to portray like cultural expressions like her chicken or the angel. Um,
Yeah.
because I think something that we kind of thought embodied the idea of closest at home is like the idea of translation errors, and kind of that mistranslation that happens kind of naturally, and that's like really significant of people who have dual identities or intersectional identities, specifically when they speak two languages or more. Yeah, I don't know if you want to speak more
Did
about
we did we time ourselves? We did not.
it. It's fine. It's 2:25 right now. You can
Okay.
continue. And um, I
I'm trying to
think
think of something I should talk about.
I think something we realized that was like really important while we were doing closest at home was definitely like skill sharing stuff like this sense of community that we wanted to create, and also when we were doing like collecting responses from our friends and family, that was like probably our highlight of doing this project, and
Mm.
something we definitely want to expand even more as we hope to get bigger, I guess, as a platform. um, we definitely want to continue this and like all like an experiment with all the different ways we can kind of go, different paths we can go as well. And we really emphasize on these moments of like connection and similarities. Sam and I kind of based this project, it kind of was inspired by these Sunday dinners we would have with our friends, um, which like all our friends are like from totally different cultural backgrounds. Like a lot of them have like very intersectional identities, and almost every Sunday we would have like dinners with like our foods that we grew up with, that we would cook for one another. And I think when we had those dinners and we were talking, we like realized these moments of similarities, and despite like our completely different backgrounds, like just growing up as like either immigrant families or like people of color or like BIPOC people of in America, or just like kind of thinking about our childhood and how we grew up. So that's something we definitely want to emphasize on, but on a digital platform. So we really think about digital empathy a lot. Um, I don't know. Do you want to add anything?
Um, I'm trying to think. I don't think so. No. So I'm
I
concentrated,
know. I'm
but
sorry.
I wish I, yeah.
Yeah.
What what
What?
else are you talking about?
I think we could talk about how important accessibility is for our
Oh,
project. I think from the start, we always wanted to have these like a really like accessible project no matter what. We were really tired after like 3 years of art school. We were just like really tired of like white institutions and this like white cube space that like work is curated for it, and even digital art in the white cube space kind of becomes
mm,
really convoluted and just like really, I don't know, it just like kind of feels very sterile. So
yeah, it was like very like aesthetics for aesthetic states.
yeah,
What am I saying? States.
yeah, so we really
Mm,
want to emphasize this like I,
specificity.
specificity, and also this like accessibility of like having like this digital art space that's accessible like beyond just like a physical space. And I think I like in some way COVID actually really like with COVID we see a lot of these digital accessible digital art spaces, which is really great. And like a lot of people have been moving to like creating virtual galleries and virtual spaces, which is really interesting because we started this project actually in 2019. So kind of interesting how Closest to Home kind of aligns with that idea. um,
Yeah.
and let's see. Yeah, and to talk more about that like digital empathy point and like the idea of like community and connection, um, we also went to the Netherlands as like part of like a residency of our class that we were in. We got a grant, I guess, a travel grant. So, but when we were there, what something we realized that was really cool is that these moments of connection with even people who are completely like we have no connection to. Like we saw Dutch Design Week, and there was these like I distinctly remember a Korean artist, and also we also remember this Filipino artist's work really distinctly, and like how similar that was to our own experiences and our own narratives, which is really crazy to think about because we are like, well, Sam's Haitian Filipino, raised in South Florida, and I'm Korean American, raised in Tennessee. But to have this moment of like connection, empathy with someone who grew up in Korea or grew up in the Philippines and then studied abroad in the Netherlands was like really like kind of mind blowing to us. And at the time, we didn't really have an idea for Closest at Home, but I think we kind of recognized that, and it kind of stuck with us at that point.
Yeah. Um, maybe did you mention your like art backgrounds and like
Yeah, I mean, you talked about a little, but I I guess I could talk about it. I'm actually a fiber major. I don't think a lot of people know what that is if you don't go to MICA, but it's essentially like textiles. That includes fashion as well, which is like really different from kind of the work I'm working on now. But I think I'm still very much interested in fashion, but very much in a digital sense, like by like 3D modeling the clothes itself and creating it on a virtual world, which I think is becoming, like I said, more important with the current pandemic at hand. Yeah. Okay. And Yeah, I don't know. We were really not digital artists, like even
Really not. I
even
I like the freedom that I feel like with making work on the computer, like how quick it is for me to like just edit, change, like redo something, or have the opportunity to kind of completely go somewhere different with a project or save another file. It gives me a lot of freedom to play and kind of move quickly with my thought process, like when I'm making work.
yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. I like that I could be anywhere and work. Um, like those are just some things for me that I really liked. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think with like especially with animation, like 3D animation, it's like really fun to like kind of be able to change like an environment like within seconds or even like recontextualize like an object that you made in like so many different ways, which is I think it is possible in the physical realm. It just takes a lot more time and money and much more
yeah,
manpower, I guess. But it's really nice to visualize that like really quickly and to have that ability to just kind of I don't know. It's kind of like playing God, which is kind of scary, but we're not going to talk about that. um, yeah, and Sam and I both. Well, I did some digital work. Um,
you were mixing it with your garment work though too, which I
yeah,
thought.
I was mixing it with my garment work. I did a lot of like AR and virtual reality like in combination with garments because I was really interested in like that bridge of the physical, like a malleable physical and then the virtual. Um, we're actually going to play more with AR eventually. Something that we always wanted to go with, like play with and experiment with. I just think like with 3D work, you can just right now the future of it is just limitless.
Um, all right, wait. What? How are we on time?
It's 2:34.
How much time do you guys just have?
Until 3.
Oh, so I have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you have like 5 minutes. You don't have to finish it though. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not technically a step by step. Like we're not doing like a tutorial per se. I don't know. Do you have any tips though, Sam, on Maya?
Tips. I guess tips for me, I think that especially if you're just starting off modeling, it's good to get a lot of reference photos. Like this one that we have is like kind of like a 45 angle, so that maybe this is not like the best image, but if you can find like whatever you're trying to model, if you can find like a front photo, complete side photo, and like a back. Um,
Top one's good to have too. A lot of the times,
so
a top view.
yeah, like kind of like how you can see here. What let me do with that? Like Maya already sets up their like program. All 3D modeling softwares kind of have like this front view that you can kind of see it from this angle. Um, and then this is a side view. Let me see if I can get the shading good. You can see like the side view. So when you're modeling something, like it's good to have like the photo references, and you can actually bring the images into Maya and then kind of model based on the images, so you can have like a good shape of what the object will look like in Maya based on the photos. I think like for beginners, that's a pretty good practice.
And not
And
even
yeah,
just beginners. I feel like I always use the front side.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. Um, yeah, and for me, I think when I was modeling, like I started off with like a basic cube. Like it's always good to think small first and then kind of expand from that. So this was like one cube, and then I added like a bunch of line work to like get more detail, like extrusions, and then I like kind of tapered it on the top here. the stairs. I just showed you guys like some ways I worked on the stairs, and yeah, and like I was able to like kind of stack this up. Should I show like the final thing?
Yeah, you show it because I'm gonna texture it soon.
All right.
We kind of set it up like a baking show.
Oh, baking show.
That's what Divya said.
Yeah, baking show. So this is kind of the final form that I did. You can see it here. Like this is with the top and everything all on it, and like the two set of stairs that I made kind of going up. Yeah, and this is like the top of it. You guys didn't get to see while I was modeling, but these are also just like a lot of different cube forms that you can just stack up.
Yeah. Also, it's important to know, I think that Maria gave us like reference photos of ruins, but we kind of interpreted it as like what it would have looked like before it was a ruin, I guess.
Yeah,
So we kind of saw like
not
more.
even interpreted. There's a lot of sketches of
That's
what it
true.
looks.
We found some drawings too of what it looked like before, so that's why it's more like clean cut, you would say,
Yeah, true.
than the top right there.
Yeah, so we've been kind of trying to keep in contact with Maria and like talking to them about how to keep moving with this. So yeah, I guess now Grace will move on to texturing.
Yeah,
Should I stop screen sharing?
yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna screen share with you now.
Are you ready or
Yeah, I'm ready.
okay?
Um,
Okay.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So this is in Blender, which is a free program. I really enjoy
I
Blender.
recommend everyone to use
Yeah.
Blender.
There's also really great tutorials on it. So
Mm.
this is Sam's object. She exported it as an OBJ, and then I imported it into Blender. I'm gonna just do some shading. There's a shading window that's pretty good, but before that, I'm gonna actually add some preferences. Something called Node Wrangler, which
Oh,
is already
what?
added, and then also landscape, and then this ANT landscape is gonna show up. Um, I'm gonna just add the landscape first. I'm gonna just set up this. So Shift A means add, so just a quick thing, and then you click this.
Oh, this is very different then. It's different, but probably not.
I think like in
Oh,
theory it's kind of similar, but yeah, it's definitely different for sure. I'm just making like a plane of a so it has something to sit on, and I'm gonna make this a little lower. Okay, and like Sam, there's also the different views.
yeah.
So that's my plane. I'm gonna go to the shading window, and you can see what it looks like in the shading. And when you do this, there's a material preview, but I'm gonna add an HDRI. I'm just showing you how to set up, which is environment texture. And something I think is really good for shading is there's these couple of websites that are really good. We'll try to link it later, but in the description. But there's something called HDRI Haven and also Texture Haven, which is where I got a lot of these things. And now,
Oh, you should like add resources on the Arena page.
yeah, we'll add it to our Arena page too. I don't really like
We'll
that
go and
one.
add some of the resources we mentioned. We'll share it there.
So now there's automatic lighting, so when you render.
Wow.
And then shading. I'm gonna just quickly show you how to do it.
Devious.
And I'm gonna apply a material, and I'm gonna call it rock. And when you see this, you also see your import window, and I already downloaded some, so I'm gonna click on this pencil BDSF, Control Shift T, and then you can import it here also. So I'm gonna do this rock.
Did you answer all the questions?
There's only one question left. Oh, I forgot. You have to UV edit this first. So when you UV edit, you have to accept all and then unwrap it with Smart UV. And then it should work better. Yeah, so now it's more even, but it's like really tiled and looks kind of uneven. So we're gonna just make some adjustments. I wanna also add some moss. So I'm gonna just show how to do that. Do you wanna conversate? Conversate.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a sheet of paper with some notes that we took for discussion. Let me see. We already talked about that. Talk about thing. Okay. Did you talk about like? Did you answer this? What is the most interesting and/or important part of the project to you?
I said most important was like the community aspect, but you can talk about what you thought.
Yeah. For me, I guess the most interesting thing I do really enjoy like those moments of collaboration. Like something like this skill share is really significant to us, I think, because yeah, we just like using our modeling for projects that people don't really have the ability to do on their own or may just need some extra help. So I don't know, it'd be interesting and really cool to see like I guess what Maria does with this model and like what her project and her work will look like with it. You know, so it's like really cool to see. And like also for me, I think it's very cool to learn more about like this individual, this person who sent us this object, or honestly anyone who kind of wants to collaborate with us. Like just learning more through them about like their cultures or their own experiences. Like that's always something that I enjoy. Um, Accessibility of information, that's really big. Um, like we try and like set up like an awareness page, like whenever we reference things or talk about certain whatever issues or points of topics in discussion, like we try our best to find information so and references so that people can feel like, you know, with this discussion there's like other places they can get more information. Yeah, and I guess that's it for that question. Okay. How do you see this expanding in the future? How do we see criticism expanding in the future? Um, yeah, I guess we've talked about it like a little bit, but yeah, we want to continue collaborations, not just like, you know, refusal stuff, but honestly, anyone interested in like doing some type of work, like hit us up. Um, because I don't know, we enjoy doing this. So we also like working with other people. So yeah, definitely hit us up. Oh, in the future, we wanted to like also potentially do a second like we need a game scene. Um, we thought it'd be cool like for that one because the first one was kind of like our Gracie and I's like kind of collaboration, but we thought the second one would be really cool to do with like us like mostly modeling like for other people. So like doing like modeling and whatever animation and stuff, like interactive gaming, like for kind of other people and like collaborating with other creatives on like kind of getting their visions out, like and creating like another scene of some sort. So that would be something we really want to do. But I guess like, you know, that just takes some time and we have to like kind of establish what we're trying to do and like what our visions are and kind of see what people we like to work with. Um yeah. We want to continue doing these skill shares. Maybe in the future we can do another one. Maybe after people like see this and like you know what we were able to do for someone, like it'd be cool if other people want to do more projects or reach out to us about them. So yeah, even if it's like a small project, like just one simple like OBJ object that they want, and like we can just like, all right, we'll do it for you. That'd be cool to send. Um, in the near future, we like reach out to like two like photographer friends of ours about doing we're not going to mention their names because we don't know if that's allowed.
They're not like a secret. It's just like we didn't get their permission.
We didn't get their permission. But yeah, two friends of ours that we are looking to do some like I don't know, I guess some AR like VR like photo shoots. So that's something that we want to do. And again incorporating like 3D modeling stuff. So that's exciting. I'm kind of excited for that. Yeah. In the future, we're gonna also keep establishing the Arena page. Um, just kind of sharing information or just like moments of like discussion like the best way that we can. So that'll probably be like whatever, maybe on IG or on a Reno and just like continue conversations beyond just like the 3D objects, 3D scenes. Like there's so much, that could be talked about. Um, so yeah, it doesn't have to be limited to like 3D renderings and 3D space. Um, yeah, and but like, who knows? Like, we're just saying things. We're just putting it out there. We would like to get to a point where like Closest to Home can expand to like other modelers or other creators, other designers that like would like, just wanna like be part of like I guess this like collective, I don't know, or just like be like freelance people and like we can reach out to others about like continuously like doing projects or other collaborative work. So yeah, extending that collaboration, extending like the team, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. But
Um,
small steps, baby steps.
what
What were
I'm
you
doing,
saying?
I was just gonna say what I'm doing right now. I just like made this node like procedural like texture, and I changed the stairs. And if I just made this mix shader so that when you add, you can change it with the color ramp and add more moss to it.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's not nothing crazy.
Wow, Blender is really cool for having that because usually like you have to go on Substance or something to do all of these texture changes.
Yeah, you can change the color too if you want a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna work more on like the bump because this is just like the regular texture. It's similar to Grasshopper, like this like setup. If you know like if you have been on Rhino and used the Grasshopper plugin, but this most nodes are on like most programs.
Um,
What were you saying before?
I wanted to show you guys a shell that I found in the bathroom.
I don't know how well they can see it.
I shared it, but I shared it anyways. I think it was from my when my cousin went to Haiti last time. If you saw the first part of our live, I showed like this model I did of a conch shell. It's actually not good to take the shells out of their environment. Like these shells are what these animals like live in. These are their homes. So it's like when people like tourists do that a lot, they'll take them off the beaches and then the animals like are dying off because they don't have any habitats to live in. Just things to know.
Um,
They're
so
going.
I'm going to like if you look at the photo, let me see if I can bring it up. Hold on. This is what it looks like rendered. It's not quite there, but
Yeah.
um, I'm gonna bring up a photo. Hold on.
Bring the photo up.
Skillshare. This is not it. Where did it go? Everyone's seeing my files. Okay, so if you look, oh,
What is that? Wow.
if
That light.
you look at it, I kind of want to emulate this like white sandstone in this middle doorway
Mhm.
area, so that's what I'm gonna work on next. And when I do that, I'm gonna just select the faces of the ones I want to change, and then I can assign them a new material property.
Oh, so you have to like go in and select the faces and then go into the texturing window.
I don't have to. It's just because this object is one object. So if I like did it, if I modeled it in Blender, then I may have done it like by
Mm,
different objects. But you can also like go more in detail than just having one material on one object.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna make a new material, and um, I don't know what to call it, doorway. And then I'm going to assign it, and then I'm going to go back to shading, and there's going to be a new material. And if you can see, it's just plain white right now. And I'm going to click Control Shift C. This only works when you have the Node Wrangler add-on on, so make sure you have that add-on. It's downloaded within Blender, so you just have to look for it in your preferences.
I just remembered that Maria sent us another description. So maybe at the end we'll share that with this.
Yeah, at the end, we're going to show you like the finished product, the rendered product of what we
Yes.
had. Um, so that's that. I'm gonna just edit it though because it looks kind of weird. If you have any questions, put in the live. Everyone just says like, "Hey," but
There's no questions.
there's no questions.
Hey, hey guys, what's up?
And we can play with the bump too, which I haven't been doing, but I did for the final one. Whoops, I spelled it wrong.
Bomb.
Yeah, so bump is just like you can't really. It doesn't.
Oh,
It just makes the texture heighten. It's like a height map kind of. Um,
yeah, height map. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you
So then, like when you have lighting on it, then the lighting hits it like textured on that height map, essentially. Yeah, and all these like texture packs I'm talking about that you can get for free, they come with like a base color, a roughness map, a normal map, a displacement map, a normal. I already said normal map, but all of the above.
all right, let's show them. Let's finish.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, it's 2:55. Um, so this is just where I am now. It's nothing crazy, but I'm getting there. I didn't get to finish
Oh,
it all the way, and
I
then
see the height map.
yeah, and if you go into Shift F, this is the camera view. Um, but I will show you what it looks like.
I can see it. Can they see it? Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to show me, but wow. Hmm. That's cool. Yeah, we just like textured, but we'll like talk to Maria and see more like what like I guess they may want with the stone. Yeah. Yeah. Should I read the thing? This is what Maria sent as a short summary of the object or the architecture it's called. As an anti-colonial act investigating the decontextualized experience of Latinx immigrants living in the US. This model will be utilized as a means of connecting with Mesoamerican history in a three-dimensional visual space. The model will be part of an art installation seeking to investigate the fragmented, parallactic sensations resulting from both the distancing and confluence of multiple cultures with the themes of personal history and simultaneity. The site-based installation work will incorporate elements of performance art, painting, and sculpture. So yeah, that'd be really exciting to see actually. Yeah. All right, cool. So
Well,
ah, well they hear you at all, but
yeah, okay. I'm gonna just have us like this. Sorry, I didn't realize you couldn't hear me during
they hear me?
They could hear you, but not me.
Oh.
During the last part, so I'm sorry about
Thank you
that.
guys.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
for joining us. This was really cool. We were really nervous, had some issues in the beginning, but I think it worked out.
I think it went well, yeah.
We definitely want to do more skill shares in the future. I don't know about live streams.
Oh,
Maybe.
it wasn't that bad.
But yeah, thank you for joining us. We really
Yeah,
appreciate
stay
it.
tuned for other refusing refusal artists that Divya has planned for the future. Yeah. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.